Está Rutte con los ministros de Asuntos Exteriores de la OTAN. Vamos a escucharle.
And again stress in my conversation with him that he has to be absolutely assured that 32 allies are united in making sure that collectively we will do whatever is needed to make sure that Ukraine can prevail, that Putin will not get his way.
Okay, Swedish television.
Yes, Mr. Secretary General. Good morning.
Está diciendo Rutte que hay que darle todo el apoyo para que prevalezca Ucrania ante el ataque de Rusia. Todo el apoyo armamentístico y económico, y ese es uno de los temas fundamentales. Dice que se va a tratar en la reunión. ¿Cuál es todo ese apoyo que necesite para prevalecer Ucrania como Estado? Siguiente pregunta para Rutte.
An adversary? Is it an enemy? Is it a competitor? And why does this matter?
When I had my first NATO summit in Portugal, we had President Medvedev, who was then president, then for political reasons Putin was prime minister, but then President Medvedev in a meeting with NATO and Russia. Those days are far behind, they're beyond us. So that will not happen in the near or distant future, I'm convinced. So that brings us to the question how to deal with that particular relationship with Russia, and that is a step-by-step approach. It might come up today. It will probably also be discussed when we have the foreign ministers meeting later this year, and this will probably take us right through to summer next year when we have the NATO summit in The Hague. How do we relate to Russia long term? The short term is clear, making sure that Putin does not get his way in Ukraine, but also for the longer term there are questions to be answered. And as Secretary General, I don't want to preempt that debate, but it is ongoing, and rightly so, because this is a relationship we really have to carve out for the long term.
Okay, over to the gentleman.
Dice que no quiere marcar el debate previamente, pero que cree que Ucrania y Zelensky, en ese apoyo, en esa llamada que le hace al conjunto de la OTAN tiene que salir en ayuda y que cree que será necesario el apoyo, pero que quiere esperar a que hablen los ministros de defensa. Seguimos escuchando a Rutte, el nuevo secretario general de la OTAN.
With infrastructure, with territory, and at a cost for your population, for the Belarusian population. I mean, Belarus clearly is not doing this from a position of strength, and that means that it is hurting the country. It's not helping you, and it is helping and supporting Putin in the war effort against Ukraine, and this has got to stop. But obviously that's up to Belarus and the Belarusian politics and people to do that. But at this moment your country is suffering because of your president providing that support from a position of weakness. Can I say?
Está hablando de quién está apoyando a Rusia en este entorno, marcando un mensaje alrededor de China. Dice que está sufriendo Ucrania y también con el apoyo de otros países que están apoyando a Rusia y que hay que cortar, hay que evitar que esa ayuda a Rusia le llegue, señalando directamente a China. Seguimos escuchando a Rutte.
Yes, today, of course, tomorrow when we meet with the 32.
Pregunta sobre Bosnia. Escuchamos a Rutte.
In the Pacific tonight, we have President Zelensky visiting. After that, we have a meeting of the NATO-Ukraine Council. But tomorrow we will meet with the 32, and there we will very much focus on all other issues. And there's a long list, including, of course, KFOR. And that means that we have to be aware of the tensions on the Western Balkans. The fact that the Pristina-Belgrade dialogue is not moving ahead as we would love to and want to. The EU-facilitated dialogue, which we support, that we are, of course, worried about the secessionist tensions still trying to steer division within Bosnia-Herzegovina society. So that will be no doubt on the agenda, and to make sure that we do everything in our messaging and our concrete support to support the Western Balkans. And therefore I was particularly very glad with the meeting taking place in Berlin earlier this week under the leadership of Chancellor Scholz of the Western Balkan countries, because I know that Germany is particularly working very hard at bringing that group closer to the EU, closer to NATO for those who are not already in NATO, etc.
Okay, thank you. One final question to the gentleman at the back. Can you raise your hand, please? Yeah.
Más preguntas para Rutte. Le van a preguntar por Oriente Medio. Vamos a escuchar la pregunta. Enseguida contesta Rutte también por la situación en Oriente Medio.
Obviously, I think all of us here, we are extremely worried about what is happening in the Middle East, in Gaza, Israel, of course, in Lebanon at the moment. Israel is fighting on multiple fronts against Iran and its proxies. It's costing a lot of lives, and that human suffering is paining all of us. And I know in my calls and meetings with allies that they are on an hour-to-hour basis trying to navigate that crisis. NATO obviously is not as an organization involved here. Indirectly, yes, because we have an important mission in Iraq on request of the Iraqi government, helping them to build their military and to improve their capabilities. But obviously this is very much on our mind, but probably not a main issue because of NATO not being part of that region, and as Stoltenberg said before, we cannot solve everything. We really have to concentrate on the Euro-Atlantic realm.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. See you later today, a couple of times. Great.
Dará toda esa fotografía, luego dará toda esa fotografía a Rutte cuando acabe la reunión de ministros de defensa, pero ha quedado muy claro, el punto fundamental va a estar alrededor de la guerra de Ucrania y de ese plan de la victoria. Fíjense que está hoy multicanal la fotografía, Está por un lado la fotografía alrededor de lo que va a suceder en la reunión de ministros de defensa de la OTAN. Los ministros de finanzas también se reúnen hoy para ver, no sabemos qué, plan Draghi, no plan Draghi, pero situación de Alemania. Se reúne Lagarde también con los miembros del Banco Central Europeo y el Consejo de Europa con los líderes europeos. Está el día cargadísimo de actualidad y sobre todo de directos alrededor de cómo se ve, sobre todo en Europa, la fotografía de lo que está sucediendo.